Okay, guys, season 3 of Young, Famous, and African. Okay, I binged the season over the weekend, and I would say I actually enjoyed the season. I think maybe this is the best season, or the first season was the best, and this season was on par with it. Few new faces, few less faces, but let's get right into it. So Andile wasn't there anymore. I don't know why. I enjoyed Andile. I thought he was good for the show, but for whatever reason, he's not there anymore. And I think his presence was missed because in the past seasons, he's been the one to kind of like bring people together, especially Annie. Um, yeah, and obviously he had that thing with Diamond and Zari. I liked Andile. Andile come back. Kanye, I think I'm saying her name right. Please correct me if I'm wrong. She wasn't there. I've been told that she lives in Dubai now, but girl, Dubai is not that far from South Africa. You could have taken a couple more trips because you were also missed. Like I felt like she was like the narrator for the first two seasons, you know. But she's no longer there. Well, she was there a couple of episodes, but in terms of like in full capacity, she wasn't. So I wonder what's going on there. But I would like to see her back as well. And we've got a new lady called Is it Kelty? Oh my gosh, let me go and find her name. Sorry, it was Kefile. I think that's her full name. Please correct me if I'm wrong. She was also, and she's a newbie. I enjoyed her. I enjoyed her this season. Went a bit wobbly towards the end with her and Zari. She wanted to whoop Zari's ass, but she was stopped. But I liked her this season. I felt like she was integrated into the group. Very beautiful. Yeah, I would also like to see her come back as well. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Okay, first and foremost, Annie is mad. Okay, and when I say she's mad, I don't know if it's stress from being married to that man, to Tubaba. I don't know. I don't know if it's the stress of her children. I don't know if it's stress of her career. I don't know, but my girl's going through it. And she did say last season she was pregnant and she lost her pregnancies. I think it was twins that she was having. So I remember Kanye last season was like, oh, she hadn't seen Annie in a while and she'd put on weight. So maybe that her putting on weight, I don't know, maybe she was pregnant or she just lost the babies. But that in itself is very traumatic. So I'm not making excuses for Annie, but I understand maybe why she is the way she is because of all these things put together. But just because she has that thing, it doesn't make an excuse. There was times this season Annie was very rude, very exaggerating. It's like she doesn't know how to talk sometimes. Like instead of her to be like, "Oh, I'm sorry," it's like she cuts people off when she's talking. She's always quite like animated in how she's speaking. There was a rumor that she's like on drugs or something. I don't believe that. I don't know. We don't know who's on drugs, but it's not, there's something off with her this season, and it might just be because of the loss of her pregnancies. I'm not sure, but she clashed with a lot of people, like the Swanky situation. Okay, let me just tell you something about Nigerian people. Yeah, Nigerian people are so big on respect, and they're so big on it to the fact that they disrespect people. It's very silly. As in, if you have like more money than someone, you're a bit older than someone, you part of the church or a religious like elder. It's like you forget how to respect people, but you expect them to respect you. And Annie is a very typical Nigerian person in that sense, in the sense that she's married to somebody. She's also very accomplished herself, but she's married to one of like the biggest musical superstars in Nigeria, like in terms of Nigerian music history. I'm not going to take that away from Tubaba. Very influential Nigerian artist. When I was growing up, he's very revered still to this day. You can't deny his impact. Um, so she's probably thinking anyone that talks down to me is disrespecting the throne. That's how it comes across very much. Like even when she talks about Fantana, small girl, little girl, because they're not the same age. Girl, but they're grown adults. So it's kind of like Nigerians have this thing where it's like they can disrespect people when they're certain caliber, but they can't take it. So this Swanky thing about him saying, oh, he lied, like, girl, your children did not get bullied because you lied and they're questioning your character. You probably said those things, but the fact that Swanky brought it to the attention of the world, that's why you're pissed at it. But girl, you said what you said. I'm sure you said it, and I'm sure there is a recording. But anyway, moving on. Can I just say as well, the fashions this season are very extravagant, but I love it. The African people are so extra, but I love it. Moving on to Swanky, I thought Swanky was very messy this season, but not as messy as he's been in past seasons. But I didn't like the way he was speaking to Louise. I felt like Ini is big enough to handle herself. You like to get involved into like women's drama sometimes, as in like you have like you attach yourself to a woman. He attaches himself to a woman every season, and then if you know it's too much. It's too much. I felt like look, I was glad when Luis stood up for himself and there was, going back and forth because you can't talk to people like that, Swanky. But I did like the fact that he had calmed down a little bit this season. He said he was in therapy and Swanky's doing quite well for himself. Like he was doing well for himself before, but this show has definitely put more eyes on him and his styling. So he's styling housewives, he's styling, very important actresses and actors and stuff like that. He does a good job. You can't deny that. Let me move on to Luis. Luis, it's like he's a bit awkward. He's sweet, but he's awkward. And this surrogacy thing, last season, surrogacy. This season, surrogacy. Like, do you not want to like actually date someone, like genuinely fall in love or whatever and have a baby that way? Like, why is it surrogacy that you're going to? And like these surrogates, are they, surrogates give you the baby after. So you are going to be the only person looking after this baby, like the primary parent or the only parent. Do you not want like to raise your child with someone that you're in a relationship with? I don't get it. And the issue with Ini, even though I think she did overreact a bit, I understood why she was like, why is it every time we're having a conversation you're bringing up the surrogacy? Especially in Nigeria, surrogacy is a thing that we don't really discuss. Like infertility issues is not something that's discussed or is kind of seen as something is wrong with you. So for you, Louise, to keep on saying surrogacy to her, it's like you're highlighting that issue, that thing in her life that she probably, she can discuss it initially, but she doesn't want to keep on talking about it. She had to go through surrogacy because she had no choice, but she couldn't keep a pregnancy. She kept on having miscarriages and this and that. It was taking her to conceive. And she got her baby in the end, which I'm sure she loves her daughter. But for you to keep on saying it as if to say that's the only thing she brings to the table, as she said, rightfully so, she, you said that you're an actor, producer, director, all these things. She's that too. Why don't you talk about stuff like that with her? And, this whole thing about, the surrogacies kind of parading themselves. It was just like, I get why she didn't like it. And Shakib also said the same thing. But he said it in a different way. But yeah, but they made up at the end. I do like Louise, but I think next season I don't want to hear about surrogacy again. Sorry. Okay, hold on for part 2 because I can't really do this all in 10 minutes. But yeah, part 2's okay. Part 2, I'm back. Okay, so where did I leave off? It was Louise. Okay, moving on to Ini because he had a lot of issues with Ini. Ini is a very big deal in Nigeria. I remember watching her stuff, her films, her TV shows, and all that since I was a child. She is, one of the elite Nigerian actresses. Okay, you can't deny her thing, and obviously that's the vibe she came on. Very much, oh yes, I'm the queen. I'm the, you can't talk to me this way, and da 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 da. She came on, she knows Annie, obviously being Nigerian from the same state, obviously, being in the entertainment industry, I'm sure she knows, she knows Annie well. But I feel like she didn't come in like as Annie's like defender, what Annie wanted her to be anyway, but it is what it is. I felt like overall, she was fair, she was asking the right questions, she looked good, I think with Louise, though, I think she did overreact a bit, but I can understand because that's obviously a trigger for her, the surrogacy thing. And I mentioned it in part 1. When it comes to stuff like this is not something we talk about, especially as Africans. Especially, I mean, I can't speak about other African countries, but Nigeria, this is not something we talk about. People not being able to have children naturally, is something that is, to talk about surrogacy, adoption, is something that we don't speak about, and we should. And I think, if this was done better, this could have been a thing where maybe even with Louise, she could have, spoken about the situation, but he was just kind of wanted her to always give him advice that come, let's meet. Oh, surrogacy. Oh, let's meet again, surrogacy. And I can understand why she got frustrated, but I'm glad that they made up and he apologized and she apologized. Boss lady Zari. She looked fabulous this season, I would say. She looked fabulous. She got married to Shakib. Shakib seems like a really nice guy. I was a bit like, oh, is this going to be like one lapdog kind of marriage? But he seems very mature. He was very respectful, and he stood up for himself with Diamond. You know, he said, I don't like this, I don't like that. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if this marriage is going to last, but he seems like a good guy. Back to Zari. Zari, um, you know, she had issues with Annie, she had issues with Kafila at the end. Um, but I feel like she came off well. Like she was reading the girls. I was like, okay, Zari. Because I felt like she was a bit unfair to what's her name, Fantana last season. But I felt like in her talking about having conflict with people, she was fair in how she approached them, and they deserved it. Her issues with Diamond, that she felt like he disrespected her with the whole Fantana situation, and I guess he did. I mean, we'll talk about Diamond in a minute, but you know him not being able to see the kids or whatever, but I feel like Diamond is not really a hands-on dad anyway, so I'm glad she put her foot down. Nadia, I think this season she looked amazing. I mean, she's a very pretty girl anyway, but this season with the black kind of platinum blonde hair and the outfits, all of them look nice. Actually, a lot of the outfits was really, really nice this season. Very, but she needs to go to therapy. She's obviously still grieving. I can't remember what his name is, but obviously her man passing away so suddenly, so tragically, that's gonna take time. And it was nice that Kanye came and was supportive for her, but the way she went off at Annie, I just felt that it was disproportionate to, she didn't have to shout like that. It was just too much, and I think she was just taking out all her frustrations out on Annie. I'm not saying Annie doesn't deserve to be dragged, but it was just a bit too much for me. I would have been like, you need to calm down. Okay, you need to calm down. Fantana this season, I don't know if it's delusion. I don't know if Diamond's D game is amazing. I mean, I'm assuming it must be, because the way you were acting for this guy, and this guy was just disrespecting you up and down the season. But again, I think like he tells you one thing and then he tells other people another thing. And I think that initially this was just fun for you. And this might not even be real. This might just be for the TV, but let's just go with the plot. This was fun for you, but clearly you've caught feelings. And this whole pregnancy thing, I mean, girl, I can only speak for myself, but if you think you're pregnant, you are not waiting days and days and days to do a pregnancy test. You are doing a pregnancy test the minute the shop is open. You're going to get that pregnancy test, or you're going to have one, what do you call it, just at home, just in case you ever think, oh, I might be pregnant, especially if you've never had a child before. So the fact that this was taking long to do, I knew she wasn't pregnant. You weren't pregnant, but it was just, and then obviously Nadia was trying to help her by trying to see that Diamond is not a really good guy. But sometimes you gotta let your friends be stupid, okay? So Nadia, girl, let Fantana be stupid if she wants to be stupid for Diamond. Before I get to Diamond, Kaylee and Naked, I'm gonna put them together because Kaylee, when you got with Naked, you knew he was a divorcee times 2, okay? And I'm not saying like his marriage is failed. He doesn't want to go through that again. Okay, I understand that, but I also understand you wanting commitment, you feeling that okay, you have something in this marriage, in this relationship, you want to have kids, but you want to do it when you're married. I completely understand that, but I just feel like Naked proposed to her because she was going to move out, or she was telling people that she's not happy, she's going to move out. That shouldn't be the reason that he's proposing to you. He should have been proposed to you, especially if you're living together. I mean, when I say living together, not you can't live together, but if he knows you want to be married, you've now moved in with him, and he's still taking the mick. It is just kind of like, I don't know. Next season we'll see if the marriage actually happens or wedding happens, even if it's just traditional. Okay, yeah, we'll see. Last but not least, we have Diamond. Diamond is a character, okay? I enjoy watching him because I think he's ridiculous. He thinks he's this God's gift to women. He can be going all around the continent, impregnating women, different nationalities. It's like he doesn't have respect for women. But women love him for some reason. I don't know why, but Fantana was all over him. Zari for she's got 2 children with him. He's got children with other people. He's apparently dating one woman in Tanzania. Like, and when he was all like, she's my artist to Fantana. It just reminded me of Love and Hip Hop, with Stevie J and Jocelyn, when he was telling Mimi, oh, that she's just my artist, but he was banging her. Okay, someone like you never take someone like Diamond seriously. However, I think for the show, he's very funny. Oh yeah, I also forgot Tu Baba was not in this season, but he was on the phone with Thing. But he was just bringing infidelity and external children to the show. So I didn't really care. Moving on. I think that was everyone. I really enjoyed this season. I will say though, they have events that is only them at the event. Not even like staff. And it's like, it makes it seem like from this show that there's no other person in South Africa. Maybe it would be nice to go to another country, maybe film this in Tanzania, film this in Botswana, film this in Nigeria. I think it could, I don't know, I think it could, Young Famous and African, but they always film in South Africa. I don't know, obviously maybe it might be cheaper to do there, or it might be just the easiest thing, but there's other African countries that these people come from that I think would be a good look. Hopefully I haven't forgotten anyone. I don't think I have. But yeah, guys, there's another season. I'm looking forward to the next season. And I want Kanye back. I want Andile back as well. And everyone in this cast can come back too.